from group Kawaii.
My name is Siti Adila binti Ahmad.
My name is Nadzifah binti Latif.
My name is Afifah Syakirah binti Aziz.
I'm Farhana Arwani binti Samsul Bahari.
So today we would like to present to you guys on the inflation and the economic data of Argentina. Let's go!
Don't cry for me, Argentina. The truth is I never.
Argentina sits as the southern tip of the South American coast, with a diverse landscape ranging from the Andes Mountains, the Gocho-occupied Pampas and the Patagonia region. The country has something to offer everyone. While the country boasts a rich ethnic diversity, the majority of Argentina speaks Spanish. It is bordered by Chile to the west, Bolivia and Paraguay to the north, Brazil to the northeast, Uruguay and the South Atlantic Ocean to the east, and the Passage to the south. It is the largest Spanish-speaking country in the world. The country is one of the world's top developing nations. However, historically, its economic performance has been irregular, with economic growth followed by recession, poor income distribution, and increasing poverty. Argentina became the world's 7th richest country early in the 20th century. Yet, its economy has taken a series of long and steady blows more recently.
Argentina was colonized by Spain in 16th century and it declared its independence in 1816 and emerged as a democratic republic in the mid of 19th century, but has since then periodically fallen because of military rule. Argentina people are a fusion of a diverse national and ethnic groups with descendant predominance of Italian and Spanish immigrants. Following independence from Spain in 1816, Argentina experienced periods of internal political conflict between conservative and liberals and between civilian and military factions. After World War II, a long period Peronist authoritarian rule and interference in subsequent government was followed by a military junta that took power in 1966. In 1982, Argentina claimed the Falkland Islands, lead to an unsuccessful war with Britain. Democracy returned in 1963 and numerous elections was being underscored in Argentina progress in democratic consolidation.
In Argentina, the currency that was used is peso. The gross domestic product of Argentina is currently 637.6 billion US dollar, and the GDP per capita in Argentina is 14,401.97 US dollar, which is the latest in 2018. The GDP growth rate in Argentina is 2.9%, subject to annual change. The gross national income or GNI per capita is 20,270 peso dollars, and the gross national income in Argentina is 897.2 billion dollars. While the high inflation and interest rate in Argentina will affect the consumers' spending on basics in Argentina.
Unemployment rate, which is 9.1%, which is in December 2018, and the inflation rate in February 2019 is 50.7%, and the interest rate, which is 68.15% in April 19. The current account in Argentina is negative 2,370 million US dollar.
The most important categories in the CPI basket in the Great Buenos Aires area are food and beverages, which is 28.6% of the total weight, transport, which is 10.4%, and clothing and footwear, which is 10.4%. Housing and utilities in Great Buenos Aires is 8.7%, alcoholic beverages and tobacco 3.8%, miscellaneous goods and services 3.6%, communication 2.9%, and education 1.6%. For the remaining, the CPI index has a base of 100 as of December of 2016 and covers the Buenos Aires metropolitan area and is 24 districts.
Now, we will test which caused the inflation. First, peso plummet. It has been a grim year for the Argentina economy and the national currency, the peso. Almost all emerging market currencies are down due to rising interest rates in the United States, encouraging investors to move money there. But the peso has declined further than any other. Second, Argentina has IMF history. Once again, Argentina has turned to the IMF for financial help in the crisis. It has agreed to lend Argentina a total of $50 billion. Going to the IMF is a controversial move, especially so in Argentina. IMF support generally comes with conditions that include unpopular austerity. Many Argentinians blame that IMF for the previous crisis in 2001. And there's a history. Argentina had its first IMF program 60 years ago. Third, messy finances. The loss of confidence among international investors reflect concerns about whether the government can meet all its debt repayments and borrow the new money it needs to finance its spending. When President Marcos at the end of 2015, the deficit in the government's finance, how much more is spent than it takes in tax, was large. He wanted to bring it down but adopted a gradual approach to economic reform. There is also a growing deficit in the country's international trade, or strictly speaking, its current account, that has to be financed by foreign borrowing or investment, which is increasingly challenging at a time when US interest rates are rising. In fact, the deficit got slightly larger, leaving Argentina at risk from anything that might make investors more inclined to pull their money out.
Next is the effects of inflation on the Argentina's economy. So for the gainer, which is the suppliers or the seller, they have an increase in price, so they have more profits against them. So when the price of basics increase, the customer can afford. So for the losers, the Argentinians are struggling to pay for basics like food because of the high inflation. The price of basic is increasing, such as the bread and the rice. So the customer cannot afford to buy their basic needs. So the government removes subsidies on utility bills for the consumers so that they can have more consumption in the basic needs area. So therefore, the high inflation rate of Argentina makes the seller have a higher profit and make the consumer struggling to buy their basic needs.
The unemployment rate in Argentina increased to 9.6% in the second trimester of 2018, 0.5 points in the beginning of the year. Out of those percentages, 21.5% unemployed population is women between 14 and 29 years. Men in the same range are 17.3%.
Cost of unemployment. From an internal development perspective, there have historically been organized around commodity exporting, such as soy and beef. This is localized to very specific areas, and the economic impact that it can have is limited. From there, people generally tend to have a much more dependent mentality towards the state and are less entrepreneurial than the US, for example. However, this comes with a caveat around informal employment, as you will often find people with business that run out of their home for very small scale endeavor, usually as a complement to some other source of income. You also have a certain Marxist perspective of business or capitalism that is present in much of the society, which is another disincentive for the creation of new industries. You have incredibly strong union and labor laws that are an undue burden on business, not to mention imbalance of all sorts of the economy in terms of cost structures for companies to able to survive. Then we need to look at the education system, which has done little to prepare the workforce for today's needs in the marketplace. And just like in many places in the world, healthcare industrial jobs are disappearing due to automation and other factors. All of this is based on the observation of the country that have been lived there for the better part of 11 years now. But it all boils down to a mentality in many cases of dependency among the population, where by and large everyone wants the state to provide a solution instead of trusting in the market in create opportunities.
First, we must reforms and policies that will lead to a pattern of growth that will be more rapid overall and feature a higher level of employment per unit of output.
Second, improving the access of the poor to basic services that will both raise their overall welfare and by improving their human capital, improve the productivity and their ability to compete in increasingly globalized economy.
Thirdly, reduce vulnerability of the poor to shocks and losses in income, chiefly by improvement in safety nets to both protect the poor during economic downturns and keep them from making short-term adjustments that will have negative impacts on their long-term ability to reduce their poverty. The Argentina peso today is worth about 147 trillion of what it was worth in 1940. Compared to the US dollar, hyperinflation is a sad fact of life there. At times, the currency has enjoyed a brief bit of stability against the US dollar, its main foreign currency benchmark, but this has rarely lasted for long. The most successful stretch was the period of the Argentina currency board, 1990 to 2001. If we look at the graph, after a decade of stability with a dollar currency board, the Argentina peso has continued its long downward journey. It is never the time to buy Argentina peso. This time is particularly bad. The peso is losing value versus the US dollar almost daily. On 6 April 2019, UTC updated that 1 Argentina peso equal to 0.023 United States dollar.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. The truth is I never left you. All through my wild days, my mad existence, I kept my promise. Don't keep your distance. And as for fortune, and as for fame, I never invited them in. Though it seemed to the world they were all I desired, they are illusions, they're not.